Hey everyone, this is Car Ray Rob, where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob, and we want to welcome you to a brand new episode of Hello Movies, My Old Friend. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. My old friend. That's right, everyone. We are back with a brand new episode of Hello Movies, My Old Friend. But before we get started, Ray, why don't you tell everybody at home what it is we do here?
I'd be glad to. With Hello Movies, Rob and I like to revisit movies that we love from our childhood, but haven't gone back to in a really long time. We want to see if the movie still holds up.
Yeah, it's a pretty common question. You know, we've watched a lot of movies as a kid, and, you know, we have a lot of fond memories of said movies. But, man, they don't always translate.
No, I think we've been on a good stretch.
But when
we first started this podcast, we ran into a lot of bad movies.
Yeah, we did. We
thought we really liked.
Exactly. And, you know, it's hard because you like movies at certain ages for various reasons.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we find out what those reasons are, or maybe find out why we, you know, don't like them anymore because of said reasons.
Exactly.
But, you know, this is one that I definitely loved as a kid. But I don't remember that much about it, and that is the 1990 historical drama Cadence.
I know what you do remember about it.
What do I remember?
The Chain Gang song.
I do remember the Chain Gang.
Because that's the sound of the man working on the chain. Yeah. Probably watched this movie on HBO 100 times when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm thinking what I really liked about it was just like this, like the budding friendship that Charlie Sheen's character, Laurence Fishburne characters, you know, because what is it like? Charlie Sheen's like is it some kind of prison camp or work camp?
He gets sentenced to 90 days in the stockade for assaulting a policeman, a military policeman. So like that, it's a short amount of time. Yeah. You know, it's not like he's there for years or something like that. But yeah, and he kind of there's obviously a lot of other men that are also in the stockade, and he kind of has to.
They're all of color, of what I remember.
Yes, they are. So like Laurence Fishburne is in it, and there's Michael Beach is also in it, and the other men I
can't remember. I can't see all the faces right now.
Exactly. So it's I'm sure there's obviously all that racial tension and stuff like that plays through as well. But you know, one thing that I did not know at that time, and I didn't know till just now, is that this movie was directed by Martin Sheen.
Martin directed this?
Yeah, who's in the movie as well.
Right.
He also directed the movie. I did not know that.
I didn't know he ever directed anything.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely knew he directed stuff, but I did not realize
anything that I liked.
Well, I mean there you go. That's a whole other story. But I did not know that he had directed this particular movie.
And he cast his son in the lead.
And his two sons. Well, his son in the lead and his other son in the movie, Ramon Estevez.
Not even the good Estevez?
I know. Emilio was busy, apparently.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fine.
But it could mean good things for the movie, though.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because again, I like Martin Sheen, President Kennedy.
I do too.
You
I love Martin Sheen.
Kennedy, you idiot.
And I liked Charlie Sheen this era.
This is a good era because I remember there was a lot of really good Charlie Sheen movies in this era. I really remember Men at Work. Did you like Men at Work with him and Emilio Estevez? Yeah, that's another one that could make this show. I feel like.
Definitely.
I remember loving that. But yeah, but I remember this being a bit of a heavy movie.
Yeah.
You know, so we just did Back at the Beach, so now we're coming back with something a little heavy, right in the middle of the summer.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's called good balance.
That's true.
But yeah, I could see myself not being as impressed with like the like Charlie Sheen's character's turn and the friendship and everything.
Some of the melodrama might feel kind of forced.
Yeah. Because in my brain, like this is a very much an HBO movie. Like I'm sure it did come out in theaters, but I don't, I just don't remember it as. I just remember it being like a TV movie in my mind. So I'm hoping it can be a little bit better than what we think of as TV movies.
That's true.
And hold up in our brains.
All fair points. It's stuff we have completely run into in the past, and we could be running into again. But we are not going to know.
There's only one way to find out.
There's only one way to find out. Exactly. When that is, Ray and I are going to go and watch Cadence, revisit Cadence, and we invite you to do the same thing. Pause the podcast, go watch Cadence, find out if you still love this movie, and come back, unpause the podcast, and see if Ray and I still think this movie holds up.
Ray and Rob are currently watching the film. You may be also watching the film. If you're not, then you're listening to me say that Ray and Rob are watching the film. They'll be right back when they're done watching the film.
All right, guys, we are back. We watched Cadence.
Spent 90 days in the stockade.
I sang a song over and over in my head. I knew that song. One thing I did not know, Rob, in this movie, till about maybe an hour in, was what year it took place.
You didn't know?
No, I thought this whole movie was in the 1990s, and I'm like, wow, these guys have some racial issues for 1990. But I guess the movie takes place in 1965. How was I supposed to know this?
That's true. I don't think they ever did. They ever say when they said when he went to West Germany? I remember that on the screen. Now I can't remember if it was a
West
year.
Germany. He's in a little bar. I'm like,
Right.
Germany is probably looks
But they
like
put
the
the
60s.
super on the screen that said, whatever West Germany, and now I can't remember if there was a year. That's
I don't
actually a really
think
good
so.
point.
Unless I was taking a note.
I always knew it was in the 60s just because of like
Your
the
memory
memory of it. But that is an interesting point because if they didn't have that, I could understand completely where you're coming from.
I like that you almost can understand what I'm saying sometimes.
Sometimes.
That is really
it gets there,
good.
Sometimes I can get there, sometimes I can't.
And that's
Sometimes
you
it
might
don't
have
make
just
any
summed up.
sense.
You might have just summed up our whole conversation we're about to have. Sometimes we can get there, and sometimes we can't.
That's true.
Let's dive into this. I will say the number one thing I remembered from the movie. I just want to start here. I do think it was a high point. The cool dancing, marching orders that the group does.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was
the
Chain Gang song. It's the number one thing I remember going in. I still think it was super cool. It is going to be stuck in my head for days.
Right.
I love that they're allowed to do it. It almost feels like they wouldn't be allowed.
I know
to.
that was my only thing about it. I'm funny you say that because I was thinking the whole time. I'm like the way that Otis McKinley is with everything, McKinney, Martin Sheen's character with everything else. The fact that he would let them do this, like maybe it was just because there was a uniformity to it, so they did it as a quote unquote team. Because there's a little bit of that element of this movie as well.
But I'm also like, what's a gig? Because they're like gig.
Oh my god! Well, yeah, they never say that.
You get a gig.
That's totally something they just kind of let you go by, and like you know it's bad.
Yeah,
clearly it's bad. It's like a demerit or something.
But they never show that it affects them at all because they obviously like don't really care.
Yeah.
So I could maybe like, hey, if you guys dance, we're all giving you one gig every time you do it. Like, okay, well we'll take the one gig. We don't care because nothing really seems to happen.
That's fair, and you almost feel like a movie like this, especially with something like that, where you have that system in place. You expect that scene where somebody just pushes it farther and farther and farther, and then you end up with 20 gigs.
Yeah,
which is like,
and they're all punished.
Right.
That's what
it's a lot of computer space. So you store so much stuff with 20. Well, maybe not as much as you used to.
Because I'm like, okay, at first actually there's going to be tension between Charlie Sheen's character Bean and the group, and it must be because Charlie Sheen's character is going to get so many gigs that everybody's going to be in trouble, and they're going to hate him for getting all these gigs. But I was like, no, they all get them, and they don't really do anything. So, but
there was no real consequence to it, really. Like, so, and I feel like there was a bit of that in this movie, where like sometimes the stakes felt kind of like very
implied.
Amorphous.
You've got to do some of the reaching yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about it. I think there's a lot to kind of touch on. I need this conversation because I'm not 100% sure on where I exactly sit with this movie yet.
That's fair.
So I think this conversation will be good for me.
I understand that.
I'll say this, and I kind of like Martin Sheen's character a little bit in this.
Okay.
I kind of feel like
he directed himself well.
I'm thinking more about the character. Like I feel like he's not on screen a ton other than like in this corporal mode. But I think the movie does enough for me explaining his personal life or giving you hints at a personal life that doesn't work and that can bleed over to his work life, and he doesn't have this balance there, and this relationship with his son. I don't know. I felt like it kind of worked for me. What about you?
I think his performance is pretty solid, and I think that's one thing I like about Martin Sheen as an actor is he does have such an interesting range. Like you think about him recently on Grace and Frankie. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a vastly different character than what you see here in Cadence. Or even, like, West Wing, or, you know, or going all the way back to Badlands, you know, when he was a kid, you know, or younger, not a kid, but younger. And so I really do applaud Martin Sheen for having range. And I do think his performance in this movie is really good. Like, I think he has really good scenes. I think he interacts well with the other actors. He plays off them well. And so there's nothing I can take away from him really in that regard. But I will say I kind of disagree with you on the work that they put into the character. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's funny. It's almost like a glass half full, glass half empty situation where I think you're looking at the glass half full. I kind of see it as half empty because I feel like everything that they're trying to build with him feels so superficial. I think, you know, he has that conversation with his wife on the phone, right? Which feels very like weird, you know. I mean, I guess if he's an abuser, which, you know, he clearly is,
in every relationship he has,
right? Exactly. So that kind of, you know, on a dime switch in the conversation isn't necessarily out of place. And then when, you know, you go into the next part of that sequence where he's kind of bullying the bartender for more drinks so that he can, you know, get drunk with his friend playing pool. You know, I think like you can kind of understand where he's coming from, but ultimately for me, I feel like through the whole movie, it by the end sequence where he's in the psychiatric ward, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, he wins this case, you know, getting away with murder, and yet he ends up in the psych ward. Like, I don't know if all of the pieces come to that conclusion, you know, or earn that conclusion.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and because part of my argument too is that I feel like they did very little, but I guess in my brain I connected enough of the dots, because I think of some other scenes too where, like, I feel like they fill him out by talking about him, like Eugene, the guy with the glasses. I can't remember if he had a nickname. Spoon maybe or something.
Spoon, yeah, I think.
But Spoon. You know, he kind of when he first take away, I think when he first takes away the right to use the windmill, they're like, he's talking with Bean privately, and it was like, in regards to Charlie Sheen's character, like he's only happy when he's making other people mad or bad or hurting other people, or something like that.
Which is an abuser, and then that does ring true. I agree with that.
And then so I think you know, you kind of, and you see it, you know, firsthand, like things have to be his way, and he, you know, he has a son who doesn't want anything to do with him, and then you can kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm jumping to that conclusion for the character and just doing the work for the movie, which isn't what you're supposed to do. But, you know, like, I feel like then when there's that scene between Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen, and he's like trying to impress him, he's got the candy out, he's practicing what he's going to say. It's like he's kind of seeing these flaws in himself that he wants to fix, and he's just not able to. Yeah. He's not able to make that connection with people because they see right through him.
Yeah, well, and okay, so if there is a scene that I feel like has any true depth for the character that I think rings beyond just you know, like I said, skin deep, it is that scene.
Yeah, they try.
For Otis McKinney. Yeah, and you take it a step farther too, because it's not only that he's trying to impress Bean, but it's also that he's now realized that Bean's father died. You know that McKinney has a very estranged relationship with his son, who is about the same age.
They can fill those roles for each other,
right? And that's
maybe
what he's
that
thinking.
Thought's in his head.
It is. It's 100%. He's trying to see himself maybe as a possible surrogate father figure in this moment. Like, I can make you a man, a real man. You know, my son won't listen to me, won't talk to me or whatever, but I can make you do it because you're here. You know, you're in prison. You have to.
I get it. You're my second chance.
Right. And unfortunately, you know, he gets the same response, which is probably, you know, it's Bean saying it, but I'm sure you could foresee it coming out of his own son's mouth, where he says, "You're a bully and I hate everything you stand for."
Yeah.
You know, I think that, like I said, if there is a, you know, the joke of the Oscar scene, you know what I mean? Like, I think like that kind of rings as that scene in this movie for me.
Yeah.
Is that scene between McKinney and Bean, but I feel like that's it, you know, and everything that comes after it, it comes from, you know, rage, like where he shuts him down working on the windmill, and then, like I said, ultimately has the scene where he, you know, shoots Sweet at the end, where, I mean, that, which isn't, they're all good scenes. I think I'm making it sound like they're bad, but I think it's just, I don't know if they ever
wasn't earned enough to you,
right, or ever hit great. You know what I mean?
Sure,
it's like it's fine. You know, this scene's fine or whatever. You know, but like I said, I think for me, especially knowing the caliber of actor Martin Sheen is, I kind of was hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah, I could see that. This movie is a crisp 90 minutes.
It really is.
And
that's true.
I think the pacing is good, so I don't know if I want to see a half hour more of the movie, but maybe it would help.
I could argue you might need it.
Maybe it would help.
I could argue, make an argument, you might need it. And you know, dramas like this sometimes do.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so I think that's, you know, it could possibly go either way.
Well, maybe we'll find the answer to that too. Because let's discuss Charlie Sheen, the flip side of that,
the other Sheen.
Yeah. Because again, we remember loving this movie. Maybe we also have to discuss why we think we did by the end of this too.
That's fair. That's true.
But I don't know if I love Charlie Sheen's character as much this time around. Not as much. Like I made some leaps with Martin Sheen's character and think I still got bought in there. But I had a harder time with Charlie Sheen's character, which was so surprising to me.
No, totally agree. I think Charlie Sheen in this feels very uneven, and I think I feel like there are times when he's really kind of trying to go for it, and then I feel like there's other scenes where he kind of just seems lost.
Yeah.
In the scene, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like even the scene that immediately jumps to my head is the scene with Webb where he takes his Zippo. Like I feel like that scene is so oddly acted for like Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
Like, and not even necessarily just like, oh well, he's timid because of you know being kind of outnumbered or whatever. Like I mean, you can those nuances I think are totally fair and are totally there. But even as a performance, I feel like he just seems like he doesn't know what he's doing in the scene.
Yeah.
And then I mean the funniest part about it is he gets punched in the head and then he really doesn't know what's going on. He's like, oh, what's his name again? You know, which is funny. Like it's a funny line, but it totally makes me think like, again, like as a viewer, I don't know if you know what you're doing.
Well, yeah, and I think I agree with you there too, because it's almost like, is Charlie Sheen's character a bad boy or not? Like
totally.
Because like that's
Absolutely.
a situation where like somebody steals your stuff, like you're being disrespected, like this bad kid wouldn't just be like, hey man, did you take it? I mean, I saw you going through my stuff, it's missing.
Right. What am I supposed to think, man?
Yeah, so it's like, wait, are you a jerk or not? Because we're told, you know, was a discipline problem in high school, but we never really see it.
No, you get one,
and it
scene.
Comes after when his mom died, so maybe justifiable like outburst, but not a epidemic of a problem.
Right. Yeah. The only indication of any kind of real behavioral problems is a flashback scene with his father and him with the high school principal.
Where he's not doing anything wrong.
No, it's already
been done.
It's just like I don't know. I think he needs to go in the military to find discipline. Right. And then you get into the military, and then
we're not told of anything.
We're not told of any kind of record or anything. There's never even
he just wants out.
Right. His father dies, and then he obviously has his outburst where he gets the tattoos and all of that, which I did remember the tattoos, and I watched like, oh yeah, that's why he goes into the stockades, the tattoos. And but even after that happens, and like great cameo by F. Murray Abraham, who gets he's the lawyer. He comes in, and it's not like he's like, well, you've had this issue and this issue and this issue.
It's like this was a first time offense,
right? He seems like he's just so maybe that's what they're trying to say, is like maybe not a lot of time had passed between that scene that we saw and his father dying, maybe. But either way, there wasn't enough there to sell me on this character of who Charlie Sheen was supposed to be. Like you said, the bad boy discipline case. I did not get that pretty much through the entire movie.
Yeah, because even like when he's decided he's going to go full on rebellious, like he's not going to comply. He's gonna embrace this, I don't know, whatever he's being called, this idea of him. He's not really all that like bad then either. Like all he's doing, like he still gets information properly. He marches properly. The only thing he doesn't do is put sergeant on the end of his sentences. And it's kind of nitpicking at Martin Sheen's character, McKinley, sure, but it's not the worst thing. He's not hurting the group like we already mentioned. Like we thought that was going to be some big thing.
Right.
He asked for permission to work on the windmill, and he gets, that he eventually gets it. Like, he doesn't do anything that makes you think he's not a pretty good guy.
Well, hell, if anything, the group hurts him. Like when they're doing the push-ups and they all drop to the ground at one time and he doesn't, so he gets a gig for that, or whatever. Like not being in formation, which is like, what?
Yeah, they set him up, but he's
like,
okay with it.
Well, right, but
McKinley's
again, like,
okay with it,
right? And I guess that's the thing. Like, it's just that kind of stuff just feels so. And I think maybe it's supposed to feel very arbitrary. Yeah. Like it's just like in the moment he decides what's bad, what's good, whatever. And I think that is part of it. But I do feel like when you're putting systems in place, like we said, like the gig system and stuff like that, and you don't really define it in any real way, those moments
have any consequences.
Right, exactly. That those scenes don't have the weight and the stakes that I feel like they should have.
Yeah, because we don't care if he's getting a gig because we've already learned by now it doesn't mean anything.
Right, it doesn't mean anything, at least for you as a viewer. Yeah, it might mean something for them, but if we don't know what it is, it makes no difference.
Yeah,
it might as well means nothing.
It doesn't affect us. So I had a hard time kind of buying this, buying him as this bad guy, and I think that just kind of made him. We were talking about him feeling uneven throughout the movie, and I think that's why it's hard to wrap your head around a character when you're being told one thing about him, but you don't. You're seeing something else.
Absolutely.
So I do feel like that was a bit of a struggle. Not to just lump all the other guys together, but just to touch on the group, because I really, if I had any kind of affection for this movie, it was remembering everybody else in the group. Mm-hmm. Larry Fishburne's character, good old Larry
Morpheus.
Yeah, I guess he hadn't decided Laurence was the way to go
guess
yet.
Not, yeah.
So he is credited as Larry. But his character, Blue Man Kuma, Michael Beach, they're the ones I really have seen in other things.
Yeah.
But the guy who plays Laurence, John Tolles Bay, is really good. And then Sweet, played by Harry Stewart. As soon as I saw Sweet, I did have a recollection of him like, oh, he dies. Okay.
Yeah, I had that too.
I totally lightning had that bolt struck.
I knew he died, and I remember him getting shot, but I will say I did not
all
remember.
The context
was gone. I thought, for some reason, he got shot running away from something instead of running back to something, right? Yeah. Which is like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that was kind of interesting.
I think the guys are very surface, for the most part, surface level. Even Laurence Fishburne, I was expecting more from his Stokes character. I just remembered him being the guy in charge, the guy who had all the answers, and it didn't really feel that way.
No, he was clearly the leader of the group.
I guess there just wasn't enough opportunity.
Right. And that's fair, because I think a lot of these situations, again, that's kind of what I said earlier. Everything feels very skin deep. Like, it doesn't feel like any of these situations really amount to much of anything. Even the windmill. Like, I feel like that's supposed to be some kind of big, metaphor or a big thing for Charlie's character, as far as, like an ode to his father or whatever. But the obsession with it really, I don't know if it ever really rings that true in the movie for me. Like, why they care so much about the windmill. And, like, I can get it. Like, I understand the paradigm of prisoners being stuck in a place and, like, having something, fixing something, creating something in a world where they feel like they have no control.
Right.
So I do understand that, but I don't feel like that's necessary. I don't know if they did enough work for me in this movie for me to connect the windmill to that.
I think they should have. I think they should have invested more time with this windmill because really all the time working the windmill is always kind of in montage, so you're just kind of seeing it and you don't really get the importance of it to them, and you need to feel that so that when it's ripped away it means something.
Yeah.
And again, I guess this would be a part where you kind of have to do that projection yourself as the viewer. Like, so when Martin Sheen rips away the windmill, you just have to be as viewer, like, oh, I think that sucks for them. Like, but you're not going to see them kind of be like, this sucks.
Right.
They don't really have the opportunity to respond.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's a bit of the visual of it, as more and more of the guys start working on it and all of that, and you get the idea. Okay, like they're all buying into it.
But is it fun?
Right.
Is it just a distraction, or does it mean something?
Webb, had to be coerced through a basketball game. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think so the first guy had to be coerced.
Why do they care? Yeah.
Right. So then everybody else kind of just comes and joins. And like I said, I understand the control aspect of that.
But show us that.
Right. And I guess, and I think that, I mean, I feel like that's what they were relying on, because at the end when they finally, or not the end, but the point where it's been ripped away, right, and they finally rebel to go and fix it, that scene's supposed to hit as like, we're taking control back. Like, right, I'm doing this. Like, I'm finishing this and all of that. So, and like, it's not a bad scene, but I like, again, it's that, like I said, that kind of superficial depth.
Yeah, I had the problem I had with it was like Charlie Sheen's brother, who's in the movie, which I hate.
The Lost Estevez.
I hate this because he looks exactly like Charlie Sheen. Like, he should be Charlie Sheen's stunt double, not another actor in the same scenes as Charlie Sheen, because
poor Rome.
Well, they just look exactly alike. It's like it's breaking like that. I don't know, whatever you call that, suspension of disbelief. Yeah, I'm like, that's your brother, dude. Like, that's not that's another actor in this movie. It's not another human being in this world. But anyway, but he kind of gets beat up and tossed aside as they go back to work on the window. But then as soon as once it starts working, he's like clapping along. Like, that was great. So I'm like, did you like never think it was gonna work? Like, did you know they were this close? Like, they had to twist 3 bolts and it was gonna start working?
In all honesty, I thought that was the scene where Sweet got shot. And Ramon was the one who did it. Like, the Gessner character was the one who did it. So I that's what I was expecting to happen, because I was just like, as I was watching, I think this is when this happens, and then no, it didn't. And I was like, and like you said, he's like joins in at the end. He comes up, they all clap him on the back or whatever, and it just is what it is. So, and I think that is kind of an interesting element of the dynamic of the group. So yes, you have the prisoners themselves, but then you also have Lamar and Gessner, who are both the guards, that are kind of intertwined with them in a way. James Marshall playing Harold Lamar. And I think that character and his kind of intertwining with Bean is interesting, but it's also like, I don't know if it necessarily goes anywhere.
Yeah, I think I found it confusing. I'm like, wait, who's superior? Like, if Martin Sheen is this really scary, like, dictator of a boss, you're not going to be... I'm surprised to hear Lamar screaming at him, being like, "Get your ass down, or I'll put you in jail." I'm like,
well, yeah, no.
How does that dynamic work?
I think, well, I mean, to be fair, as far as like,
not that it wasn't uncalled for,
but no, absolutely. But I do think, as far as like military goes in that instance, I do think there is a fine line in, your commanding officer clearly breaking the law, and what you have to do, and especially when the other guy runs up, who's just as much of a big wig as Martin Sheen was, the guy he was playing pool with, and has to drag him away.
Yeah, his buddy.
Yeah, his buddy. So clearly, when that situation, he had to do something, because there was another, military officer there that was like, okay, well, I can't,
right.
I can't just let him do whatever he wants. But, but yeah, but like I said, I mean, that was a good scene. Probably one of Martin Sheen's best scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Just because, again, it kind of shows
good
that
old drunk.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Like, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, his progression through the movie, there's certain elements of it that it's like, okay, well, he's an alcoholic or he's drunk or whatever, and that's fine. He's self-medicating. But then in the end, like I said, he ends up in the psych ward, which maybe that's because he killed somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what it is in his mind. Like, it broke him. Like, maybe he didn't necessarily even mean to kill Sweet or whatever, but it was just like, whatever. But in that vein, let's talk a little bit about how this became a trial movie for 2 seconds. Like, I did not remember. I did not remember there being any trial element to this movie at all.
And being like turning into a heel.
Right. So, okay, there we go. Like, I want to talk a little bit about that, because I feel like that felt like such forced drama.
Yeah.
Like, the reason that they lost the case, because I think there was it was funny. Again, F. Murray Abraham comes back, which, I mean, you got him, you might as well use him.
Sure.
It's the way that they kind of get, or the way that he gets Bean to admit that McKinney said help, felt very weird, because it was like, well, what he said. did I?
Right.
Like, how did he know that he heard him say help?
Martin
Like,
Sheen there's no way he would know
Maybe
that he
McKinney
knew.
told the lawyer that he had said help.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what a lawyer client would do. But to believe or to know that he had said that, I think was like an odd kind of gamble and one that felt very convenient. Right. If you will. You know what I mean? As far as like the narrative goes, like it felt very lazy and convenient as a way for McKinney to win this case.
And him winning the case really wasn't needed if you're going to have him go insane and be locked up in the psych ward anyway.
Right,
so
exactly.
It really would just be to push the point that you want the crew to be mad at Bean, just to be mad at him now. Like, to kind of hint at, I guess these last 2 minutes, are you worried that he's going to go off to Vietnam and his friends are never going to talk to him again?
Right.
I guess there's just a little forced drama there, just to kind of force it on you for the last 2 minutes of the movie, because they became a team so quickly. It really wasn't all that hard for them to win each other over, which was cool. I'm glad it didn't take an hour. To do that. But I will say, one thing I think the movie did best was when Martin Sheen, in the middle of the night, goes and wakes the crew up, and it's raining outside, and he forces them outside, and they're sitting on then they get in the back of the truck
for the emergency drill.
Some fake emergency drill, which again, he's either just drunk and he's just going on a tirade, and he's at a point where we kind of learned earlier, as we just said, when he's drunk, and I guess I'm assuming he's drunk-ish at this point or whatever, he has snapped that he can do anything. He could potentially do anything, and I think they do a really good job of setting up the tension of just Martin Sheen can do anything right now. He could kill any one of these guys, or all of them. And I'm like, okay, I kind of, in my brain, I know Sweet's gonna die because I've seen this before, but I'm like, this is working for me. I'm like, I kind of feel a little tense right now about because I didn't remember exactly what the drill was going to be, what it was going to force me to do, and how extra it was going to get. So like, that worked for me. I thought that was good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's, again, one of the better scenes in the movie. I think, having it, in the rain, out in the mud, as they're trying to, he tries to make him do the chain gang song.
And they're trying to leave him.
And like, they just, it just, it's not working out well, for obviously being in the mud or whatever. He falls in the mud. I think that there's a lot of mania in that scene for the McKinney character, which, again, does lend to him ending up in the psych ward.
Yeah.
But
we didn't see what made him snap, really.
Right. Totally. 100%. Because it didn't seem like he was like getting ready to go to a psych ward in the trial or something like that. Because at that point, if he was going to the psych ward, he may not even been able to have stood trial.
Right.
Because, but that's a whole other thing. But I thought one of the, kind of buttressing your point, actually, compared to mine, I do think this is another scene that did do a decent enough job of trying to kind of solidify McKinney's ghost, his son, that kind of thing, in this movie. And that is when he says to Bean, I really want to know where we went wrong, John. Calling him his son's name. And I think that in that moment, that is the button on that character.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of what all of this is about, which, again, you kind of understood, I think, for the most part, as a viewer coming through, to this point. You realized he was, trying to use Bean perhaps as a surrogate son.
Yeah.
Or at least force him to become one. But like I said, I think Martin Sheen's a great actor, and I do think he performs this scene very well. Even though, like I said, I think ultimately, I will. So where I will agree with you 100%.
I'd love to hear this.
He is the best character in the movie.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if we're kind of doing a hierarchy in that way, we're ranking, I would definitely put McKinney at the top of the list for the best, most fleshed out character. But I still don't know if I feel like it reached the heights that maybe another 30 minutes could have given him.
Yeah, I could hear that. I will say I like Sweet a lot. Like, I think they did a good job of making him bringing across this empath in him.
Yes.
He's very hard to understand. Like, he'll do whatever he wants. He's only comfortable when he's singing. If he's not singing, he's not really comfortable.
Right.
but he doesn't like when other people are like in trouble, and maybe
Yeah.
that's when he has to remove himself from those
And he,
situations.
wanders off,
Yeah.
and they do it. I feel like they could have done more to set that up. You know, I know that there's like that earlier scene when they're working, when they're like, "Who's got Sweet?"
Right.
Oh, I do. He's on. You know,
We know where
KP
he
or
is,
whatever.
yeah.
He's on Chow or whatever. So like, but that's it. Like that's
it.
pretty much all you get. Like
Right.
as far as that goes. So like, even if there was like another part in the movie where there was an escalation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's one of the good things about this final emergency drill, quote unquote, scene is the escalation from the scene where Martin Sheen tries to break into the stockade, you know, where he's drunk. So this is the conclusion of that. It's the escalation of that. Whereas the Sweet death scene should have been, I think, a more like gradual escalation instead of just like one little, you know, snippet that you get early on in the movie in one scene to him just wandering and then climbing up the windmill. You know what I mean? Like,
because I'm like, they're like, he's not trying to escape. I'm like, well, is he? Or what is he doing then?
Right.
Where is he going?
Right. Well, but I wouldn't think he's escaping anyway. He's going up a windmill.
Well, I mean,
like, he's not running away.
Why is he going?
Right.
Well, when he first was leaving, I was like, but where is he going? What was he doing? Like,
well, and I think
why does he want to go up the
And that
windmill?
could have easily killed McKinney's case too, because it's like, well, he's trying to escape up a windmill. He's just going to go up. Was he a cat going up a tree?
He's just taking the long way around.
Yeah, like
that's all.
I think for me, like that would, if I was the opposing lawyer, I would have been like,
this is
he wasn't
easy.
escaping anywhere. He was going up a windmill.
Right.
You know, he was going to do fly away. He had wings up there, and he was going to get the wind from the windmill and fly away. Like no, I mean that's. So again, I'm with you 100% on that element. Is like it should have been one or the other. It should have been either McKinney went insane from shooting Sweet, or it should have been a courtroom drama, not both.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: why did you like this movie as a kid? Because what do you think you got attached to? Because it's it's not a kids movie. It's not made for that.
Not even remotely.
You know. So what do you think we enjoyed?
I mean, I think for me, especially when you're young, because I mean, this came out in 1990. It's probably maybe 94 to 3 was the last time I saw it. You know?
Sure.
And I can definitely feel as a young viewer, and especially the type of young viewers like you and I were, watching a movie like this, you know, as we've kind of said, kids don't always necessarily need that like super depth of character to attach to somebody. I think for kids, like, and especially when a more simplified worldview, it's like, okay, like like you said, maybe are more willing to just accept those connected dots as they are and not need anything more. And it's a movie that you feel maybe a little grown up watching. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do think that there are elements of the movie that are fun and comical. Like I said, especially the interactions amongst the group.
Yeah.
And some of it I wish there were more of.
Right.
You know.
Definitely, because that's what I just remember. I remember this being such a group movie, and I wanted more from the group. I wanted the group to do. I don't know, like they become friends so easily, and I guess that's probably what I liked about it as a kid. Like, hey, they're making friends. Like, I really, it's nice. It's nice to see on screen that that they overcome this. Like, you guys will never be a good team, and they're a very good team so quickly.
Yeah.
But I guess as an adult, I'd like to see that be a little bit more earned and be harder to obtain. But yeah, because I think the group, the song, the dancing, like the including being in the dance, like this is the stuff that I think as a kid I got attached to. Like, they're making friends.
As we said, that is the thing that probably stuck out the most for me, like as a kid, and maybe why I'm not gonna say it's the whole reason I like the movie, just because of that one element. But
that's what I remember the most about. But I think the everybody in the stockade, they aren't as fleshed out as I would hope. But I think as a kid you don't need that, because you just project so much onto people. Like, you just naturally assume everybody's a good person, and you just see the good things about them. So I feel like you just really get attached to that, and it's just so easy to identify. All right, Charlie Sheen's character or Martin Sheen's character are bad, everybody else good. I can track this as a kid pretty easily in that way.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%.
Well, then let's answer the bigger question that we end these episodes with: is, did this movie still hold up to you? We remember loving it as a kid, and I probably watched this 100 times on HBO.
Sure. Maybe
twice a day, the way HBO's schedule used to run. But did this movie hold up to you as an adult?
So, as we just said, like, I definitely understand why I probably was drawn to this movie as a kid. Like, even, like, with some of the bigger conceptual stuff that they kind of tried to pepper in, like the idea of the racial tension and things like that.
Yeah.
And, the one character who was convicted of sexual assault, he...
Laurence.
Was that, yeah, Laurence. Like, his diatribes were interesting. You know what I mean? Like, they felt interesting. I'm sure, like, as a younger kid, you're like, oh, what's he talking about? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that kind of like natural curiosity or whatever about the world. So I do understand, at least to a certain degree, why I probably was drawn to this movie. However, as an adult, as I said, I think that there are good performances. I think by far Martin Sheen does have the best performance, but for me, his character still feels unfinished.
A little hollow. Yeah.
It feels hollow. So I feel like that is hard for me as an adult to even with a really good performance or a good performance.
Sure.
Maybe not, you know what I mean? Like, what gradation you want to talk about. But either way, like, I still feel like it's probably not, doesn't bode well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so for me, I think my memory of this movie was good, but my reality of it now was not quite as good. I think it's fine. I think it's a fine movie. Do I think it held up to what I hoped it would be and what I remembered it being as a kid? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think this movie is rated like 5.1 on IMDb, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably right down the middle, like, like 5, 6.
Right,
It's
exactly.
probably what it is. I think I'm okay with the Martin Sheen character because I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, he's a background character, so I'm all right doing some of the leaping. But as we discuss this, I'm like, he probably is the second lead, really, because in my brain,
Right,
I think that
right.
everybody in the stockade are all the secondary characters, but they're really not. They are more the tertiary characters,
Right.
And so I think since they don't hold up as well, just because they're just not really given enough opportunity to,
Yeah.
they're still like, I think really, come across as nice guys, at least at this part of their lives.
Yeah.
But they don't really have the opportunity because to shine as much as I remembered or hoping I remembered them doing. And so I think that Martin Sheen's character, maybe he does need more filling in, I guess, as since he is a character that the movie relies so heavily on.
Yeah.
I do probably think, after us talking, I think I would want to see another half hour of this movie and just get a little bit more into all these guys.
Yeah.
And I think there's that interesting convo where they're always like, don't ask somebody what they did, but all of them didn't really do anything wrong. So I'm like, well, what do you have a problem with it for if none of you did anything wrong? You know what I mean? Like, none of them are actually learning a lesson because they're all falsely accused.
Right.
And whether those are true stories or false, I would have liked to explore that more and just learn more about them.
And that's just the nature of prison movies in general. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, think of like a Shawshank Redemption or stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But I do still feel
But
like
those center around those guys, and you do learn,
right, little bits and pieces around them, and I think they're used effectively. Where I think
or lots of bits and pieces on them.
or right, and depending on the character for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think for this movie specifically, I remembered them being more of an ensemble.
Yeah.
And I like upon a rewatch, it doesn't feel as much of as an ensemble as I remember.
I agree, because like to me again, if we just go back to Laurence Fishburne, I remember him so vividly in this movie. But I think like after the first 2 or 3 scenes where he is in charge, like he has that opening scene with Bean where him and Bean go back and forth and he sets the tone.
Yeah.
Then he tries to stop the fight, and really after that point, he really is not a character in the movie.
He kind
anymore.
of disappears. Yeah.
So
I agree with that.
So like so it's like they never really could balance all of the characters at the same time.
Yeah.
And I will say this has the biggest thing going against this movie. Charlie Sheen's scream after Sweet dies is right up there with Darth Vader's horrible scream. Like, it is as bad as any scream you'll ever hear in a movie.
To be fair, every time Charlie Sheen cries in this movie kind of just like gives me the ick a little bit. Like, oh, dude, you need you're blubbering a little bit. You need to kind of pull that back just a little bit. Oh, boy.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm with you. I don't think this movie held up to me as well.
But it's funny, like you're talking about Laurence Fishburne sticking out, but it totally stands to reason because he is such a good actor.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had such an amazing run, kind of starting from this, because after this, I think same year he did King of New York, then Deep Cover, Searching for Bobby Fischer, Higher Learning. He was in.
I love Searching for Bobby.
Right,
Fischer.
What's Love Got to Do with It came after this. Boys in the Hood.
Yeah,
was a year after this. I mean, he just like this was kind of like the point,
the start.
Right? Like he had done stuff before it, like The Color Purple, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. But like this was kind of where I feel like he really kind of started to take off. So I think, doesn't surprise me all that Laurence Fishburne stuck out to you. It just makes me wish they had used him so much more.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're at a good stopping point for our conversation with Cadence. Wanted maybe a little bit more from it. Saw some twinkles of what I used to love, but wanted just a little bit more of it. But you're not going to get any more of this episode. But before you go, unless you want 90 days in a stockade, because that can be arranged, you have to like the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. If you do, we're going to read it live on air someday. Email us at CarRayRob if you'd like to, or reach out to us on Blue Sky at CarRayRob.
Absolutely. You can now also find us on Facebook and Instagram. By all means, go give us a like and subscribe on those platforms. See all the fun things we are doing over there. If there is a comment section on whatever platform you're listening to us on, by all means, let us know what you thought of Cadence. Did it still hold up for you? Was Martin Sheen as great as Ray and I think kind of he was for this movie? Was Charlie Sheen's crying that bad?
Yes.
By all means, let us know. We will be back next week with a very special Kids Edition episode of Say Hello to My Little Film, where we are going to be showing Mr. Kitty Kaiju himself, who will be back in studio, the 1989 classic comic book movie, Batman.
That movie inspired a theme park ride, if you're not mistaken.
I've actually been on that ride.
Very cool.
At Six Flags. Oh, yeah, a lot of fun. But then we will be back in 2 weeks with our first month of July, or first episode of July, I can speak, of
Sure.
Say Hello to My Little Film, and it will be back to me, and I've got something I am so excited to show Ray. I'm on a 2-month drought, and I think I am going to break that streak.
Sick. You don't usually do that in July, so that is cool.
Exactly. But we will be back next month with a brand new episode of Hello Movies, My Old Friend, where Ray and I are going to be rewatching the 1996 black comedy Joe's Apartment. I don't know if a movie about a musical group of cockroaches in an apartment is going to still hold up, but we're going to find out.
We need a definite hold up, and let's see, MTV movies, maybe?
I don't know.
MTV's not really doing good now.
Exactly. This is going to be a very interesting experience, but you are not going to want to miss it. But until then, this is Car Ray Rob.
Where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob. And remember, be defined by the films you love, not the ones you hate. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. Hello, movies. My